Lesson 8, Research Title. Here are the objectives of this lesson. For the content standard, that the learners will be able to demonstrate understanding of the research title. And for the learning competencies, the learners will be able to identify the steps and guidelines in the formulation of a research title, critique the research titles considering the guidelines in formulating titles for a paper, and be able to write a research title for their chosen topic. Welcome to Lesson 8, and today we will be talking about the research title. Ano ba ang research title at bakit mahalaga ang title ng isang research paper? So, bakit nga ba mahalaga ang research title? Why is it important? The first thing the readers will notice in a research paper is the title, and will immediately form a view on what they should expect in your research paper. Mas madaling maintindihan ng mga gagamit ng inyong research work kung ano ang nilalaman ng inyong paper kung maganda ang pagkaka-formulate ng ating research title. Doon pa lang, malalaman na nila kung pwede nilang magamit at gawing reference ang iyong ginawang research paper. Moreover, the title of your research paper is the only aspect that will be freely available to readers through search engines or indexing databases. Kadalasan, kapag natapos ang isang research paper, is nasubmit ito sa school o sa library at isinasama sa listahan ng mga available resources ng isang school o library ang title ng mga research works. Kung kaya nga ito ang makikita ng mga magre-research sa inyong library about a particular topic. So maganda kung maayos ang pagkakagawa ng ating research title, marami ang magbabasa nito at marami tayong matutulungan sa kanilang pag-aaral, sa kanilang ginagawang researches. Now, let's go to the 5 steps in writing a good research title. Ano nga ba ang mga hakbang na dapat nating gawin upang makabuo ng isang makabuluhan at magandang research title? Muli, balikan ninyo ang inyong ginawang data collection plan. Go to your general topic or the specific topic that you would like to research on, and then ask yourself the following questions and write down the answers. When you write down the answers, you don't need to answer in complete sentences, but rather, I would suggest that you answer with phrases, with words or phrases. And later on, I will tell you what to do with your answers. So these are the questions that we can ask so that we can start writing our research title. First question is, what is my paper about? Tungkol ba talaga saan ang aking ginawang pagsasaliksik or research? Ikalawa, what techniques or designs to be used? Anong klaseng disenyo, anong klaseng technique o approach ang gagamitin ko sa aking research? Is it ethnology? Is it phenomenology? So, ito ang ilan sa mga napag-aralan na natin ng mga research designs. And also, we can also ask who or what is being studied. Ano ba talaga yung pinag-aaralan? O sino ang mga pinag-aaralan sa research paper na ito? Then when and where it happens. Kailan ba o saan yung tinutukoy at gagamitin nating circumstance in our research work. Now, step 2 is what you're going to do with your answers with step number 1. So, what you have to do here is to list down the keywords or your answers to the questions in step number 1. So again, you can just have words or phrases as your answer. Okay, so this will be your materials for building or writing your research title. Here is an example. These are the list of keywords or answers to the questions in step number 1 on our paper, which is something to do with the effects to children of the separation of parents. Okay, so we have here effects, academic performance, separated parents, purposive, unstructured interview, children with separated parents, 40 students, Pinagbuhatan, Pasig City, phenomenological design. So this will be the materials that will be used in the following steps to be able to form the research title. The third step in writing a good research title is to create a sentence that includes the keywords that you've listed in step number 2. So, bubuo kayo ng isang pangungusap at sa pangungusap na yun, gagamitin nyo lahat ng mga sagot na nakuha nyo, nabuo nyo mula sa step numbers 1 and 2. So, here is example in the topic that has something to do with the effects of separation of parents to their children. Okay, the study is a purposive and structured interview that will use a phenomenological design to find out the effects of separated parents to the academic performance of their children who are studying in Pinagbuhatan High School. Step number 4, after formulating the sentence based on our answers in steps 1 and 2, we'll have to delete all unnecessary or repetitive words and link the remaining. So, tatanggalin natin ang mga hindi gaanong mahalagang salita at ganun din ang mga salita na paulit-ulit lang at yung mga natitirang salita ay pagkakabit-kabitin natin o pagdudugtong-dugtongin natin. So, in that example that we are using, we can remove the first words that are in yellow font or with yellow font. The study is a purposive and structured interview that will use a phenomenological design to find out. And then what will remain, ang matitira na lang, the effects of separated parents to the academic performance of their children who are studying in Pinagbuhatan High School. The last step in writing a good research title is to delete non-essential information and reword the title. So ito na yung pinakahuling step na dapat natin gagawin, no? So kung mayroon pang pwede tayong tanggalin ng mga hindi naman talaga mahalagang impormasyon o salita sa ating title o sa ating sentence na ginawa, at pagkatapos ay ayusin pa yung mga salita na gagamitin natin sa ating title. So in the example that we are using, from the remaining words, the effects of separated parents to the academic performance of their children who are studying in Pinagbuhatan High School, nilagyan ko ng yellow font ang who are studying because this is not that essential. So pwede na rin itong tanggalin. So what will remain and the final title for this particular research work is the following: the effects of separated parents to the academic performance of children in Pinagbuhatan High School. After seeing the different steps that we should take in formulating our research title, and after seeing an example of how to do it, let's now move on to the guidelines in the formulation of a research title. Ano nga ba ang mga alituntunin na dapat nating sundin sa pagbuo ng ating research title? So number 1 is that the title must contain the following elements. Dapat nababanggit o taglay sa ating research title ang mga sumusunod. Letter A, the subject matter or research problem. The topic dealt with. Siyempre, dapat na mabanggit ito sa ating title. Letter B, the setting or locale of the study. When we say locale, it's the place where something happens. Kung saan nangyari yung mga data na ating gagamitin sa ating research. Letter C, the respondents or involved in study. Kung sino ba ang mga tao o mga bagay marahil, anong mga bagay ang ating pinag-aralan. Dapat nababanggitin ito. And letter D, the time or period when the study was conducted. Kailan ito ginawa. So in the example that we've studied, we have the effects of separated parents to the academic performance of children in Pinagbuhatan High School. So ang subject matter dito, the effects of separated parents sa academic performance. So kasama na dyan, nabanggit na dyan yung mga respondents. Okay, of course, the children will be the main respondents. And we also have the locale or or the setting. It's in Pinagbuhatan High School. So dito sa title na ginawa natin, ang parang wala lang dito is the time or the period when the study was conducted. Okay, guideline number 2. Titles are usually in the form of a phrase but can also be in the form of a question. So remember this, okay? So yung ating title, pwedeng phrase or pwedeng question. Here are the examples. For the phrase, addressing the intergenerational gap between students and teachers. And as an example for a question, do teachers who accommodate different learning styles increase students' likelihoods to succeed? Okay, we now go to guideline number 3. Rarely use abbreviations or acronyms unless they are commonly known. So, iwasan natin yung paggamit ng mga pagpapaikli ng mga salita o yung mga initials lang. Lalo na kung hindi naman sikat yung salita na ating pinaikli. And number 4, identify key variables, both dependent and independent. When we speak of variables, we are talking here of the element or features or factors that are subject to change. Pwedeng mabago. For example, we're talking about Paralympians. So, pwede dyan mabago yung particular na Olympics na sinalihan nila. It can be Tokyo Olympic, can be Beijing Olympic. So, kailangan na babanggit o na-identify yung mga variables na katulad niyan. Okay, guideline number 5, the title must be broad enough to include all aspects of the study but should be brief and concise as possible. So, dapat nakapaloob at nilalaman ng ating title yung mga particular na aspect or aspeto na gusto nating pag-aralan, at magkaganon pa man, hindi naman kailangan na sobrang haba, no? Dapat concise pa rin. Yun lang mahahalagang salita ang nandun sa ating title. Guideline number 6, the use of terms as analysis of, a study of, an investigation of, and the like should be avoided. So, hindi na sinasama yung mga salitang yan, no? An analysis of, a study of, an investigation of. So, you avoid or do not put it on your title. Number 7, if the title contains more than one line, it should be written in an inverted pyramid. So, kadalasan ng mga research title mahahaba, so hindi kasya sa isang linya. So, dapat ang forma nito, pag nilagay natin, tinype natin sa ating research paper, sa title page natin, should be in the form of inverted pyramid. Ibig sabihin, sa pinakaitaas, yung pinakamahabang line, at habang bumababa sa kasunod na level ay paiksi ng paiksi yung line. Okay, so much so that after finishing the entire title, it will be on an inverted pyramid form or style. Guideline number 8, when typed or encoded in the title page, all words in the title should be in capital letters. So, kapag tapos na halimbawa natin yung ating research paper, isasubmit na natin. Yan. So, dapat dun sa ating title page, all caps, capitalize lahat ng letters ng ating buong research title. And number 9, use correct grammar and capitalization. All nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs that appear between the first and last words of the title are also capitalized. So, kapag naman nasa loob na ng ating research paper, no, kapag isinulat natin yung ating title, yan, so dapat naman ay nakakapitalized lahat ng mga pronouns, nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. So, yung mga preposition hindi na siya kinakapitalized. Now, this is when we mention or use the research title not anymore on our title page. So, sa ibang part ng ating research paper, pag sinulat natin yung ating research title, dapat nakakapitalize ang mahahalagang salita. Nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. And guideline number 10, if possible, the title should not be longer than 15 substantive words. Okay, so pwede naman sumobra ng konti, basta substantive words. No, minsan kapag mayroong mga kasamang subtitle, talagang mahaba yung ating research title. But again, as much as possible, limit it to 15 substantive words, 15 important words. Number 11, avoid a long, detailed title that gives too much information. So, wag namang masyado mahaba yung ating title na wala ng suspense dahil sa naibigay na natin ang maraming information about our research work dun pa lang sa title natin. Okay, so number 12, to shorten the title, delete the terms assessment or evaluation if these are already emphasized in the text. So, ito yung ilan pa sa mga words na hindi na natin dapat banggitin or gamitin do sa ating research title. We have the words assessment or evaluation, especially if the other words would already imply that it is an assessment or an evaluation. Now we move on to what is known as the subtitle. So aside from the most important words that are used in the title, usually we'll find more words following a colon. And this is what is known as the subtitle, and it has its purposes. The first one is that it explains or provides additional context. Mas binibigyang linaw ng mga salitang ito kung ano yung circumstance o yung konteksto kung saan ginawa ang isang research o na ginamit sa isang research. The example here is Linguistic, Ethnography, and the Study of Welfare Institutions as a Flow of Social Practices. The subtitle is The Case of Residential Childcare Institutions as Paradoxical Institutions. So that's the particular focus or circumstance or context that is being used in the study. Another function of the subtitle is to add a substance to a literary, provocative, or imaginative title. So mas binibigyang sustansya o mas pinapakita ang kahalagahan ng isang literary, provocative, or imaginative title. We have here an example. Listen to what I say, not how I vote. Congressional Support for the President in Washington and at home. So mas pinapaliwanag ng subtitle na ito ang layunin ng research, at yung particular na focus ng research. So it adds substance to this provocative title. Another function of the subtitle is to qualify the temporal scope of the research. So binibigyan linaw kung anong panahon ang pinag-uusapan sa isang research. We have here an example, a comparison of the Progressive era and the Depression years, societal influences on predictions of the future of the library 1895 to 1940. So with just the subtitle, we are being clarified of the particular context or years or period that is the context used in this particular study. Hanggang kailan ba? Ano yung saklaw na panahon kung kailan na pinag-aaralan sa isang research na ito. Number 4, a subtitle can also qualify the geographic scope of the research. So, sinasabi sa atin ng title pa lang o ng subtitle kung anong lugar, ano yung nasasakupan na location ng isang pag-aaral. For example, the Geopolitics of the Eastern Border of the European Union. The subtitle is The Case of Romania-Moldova-Ukraine. So the subtitle, The Case of Romania-Moldova-Ukraine, already limits or gives us the particular scope of the research. So tungkol ito sa mga lugar na ito at hindi tungkol sa ibang lugar. The last function of a subtitle is to focus on investigating the ideas, theories, or work of a particular individual. Okay, sa pamamagitan ng subtitle, mas matutulungan tayo na makafocus at linawin sa atin kung sino, for example, ang involved o sino ang may akda ng isang ideya, ng isang theory. Okay, we have here an example. A deliberative conception of politics, how Francesco Saverio Merlino related anarchy and democracy. So with the subtitle here, nalinawan tayo na ang pinag-uusapan dito ay ang usapin tungkol sa politics from the point of view of Francesco Saverio Merlino. For your first assignment for this week, this is assignment for week number 6, activity number 12. All you have to do here is to identify whether the given research title can be considered either as good or bad. So the basis for your decision or judgment will be the guidelines that we have tackled in the lesson. So titingnan nyo kung sumusunod ba sa mga guideline itong mga titles na nakalista dito 1 to 5. So if it's not following the guidelines, then it can be judged as a bad research title. But if it's following the guidelines, then it can be judged as good research titles. And another assignment for this week, which is also your performance task number 2. So your data collection plan was your first performance task. So this is the second one. It's you writing your research title for your chosen topic. So make sure that your title follow the guidelines in making the research title that were discussed during the class. So follow the steps, no? So address first the different questions, isulat, i-formulate nyo at gawing isang sentence, and then remove or eliminate the unnecessary words, and then finally reword it. No? Kung masyadong mahaba, it should be in inverted pyramid format, and then also avoid abbreviations. Okay, for example, those who are studying about AIDS or HIV, so it will be better if you will be writing the entire words. And then, of course, follow the other guidelines that we have mentioned, both for the title and for the subtitles. If you have any question, feel free to send me a message. Thank you, and see you in our next class.